Wake the fuck up, samurai.
This series is going to teach you everything you need to know about C++.
Well, I hope you like that montage. So, I'm making this video, and I hope to use this channel because I am trying to become a game dev, and not just like make a game, but I also want to work in the game industry. So I'm trying to actually acquire the skills necessary to do that. So I'm kind of using this talking portion to explain some things about myself, because I do spend a lot of time on this topic. As you can see, I got my list and plethora of games that I have here, and many more on. Oh, this is So this is Warframe. It's my most played game. Apex, Borderlands, one of my favorite series. 2 would have more hours if I had my Xbox, but I do play a lot of games. Let's see. I think if I also have the 12-year badge, so I'm 24 now. I'm gonna be 25 this year. I was born 2000, so had this since I was 12. And what do you call it? I have quite a lot of games too on Steam. So I'm a big gamer. I also have a document that I started writing this year, exactly on the 1st. It's actually part of why I'm starting to record this as well, is that I recorded everything that I want in my game, right? And this is my dream game that I don't have the skills to actually currently make, because games are very complicated. You can't just slap things together. I also made a list of every single FPS game because I thought it would be good to actually learn FPS history. So starting from the 70s all the way till once we get to Wolfenstein, I only go to notable games because there's just so many games that classify. So I take the most FPS, so actual first-person shooter out, and games that were actually very notable that if you hear, you're probably not going to disagree. And there's highlighted things too. I also forgot to mention that. There's just games I found interesting because I knew what System Shock was. That was super cool to me. Quake I've definitely heard of, but I actually never played or owned, and so that was pretty cool because I own that now, and I played that for quite a bit, and that was pretty fun. Half-Life, I have not actually spent time, but the reason it's highlighted is just because of how impactful it is. And Deus Ex for the same reason as Half-Life. I also made a little 2-page thing to talk about NetEase. And this is, once again, these are all, by the way, for myself. If anyone would probably even care about this document, I'd probably share this. But these are just for myself so that I actually can remember these things, because I'm a human. I'm not a AI, right? You know, as people think, because, you know, AI is trying to steal people's jobs, they say. But I can't remember everything, so, you know, lay your ideas out here, and then, you know, you have free space in your brain is how I think, right? So I can just completely forget about these things and just have them here. So, that's just a little bit about the type of person I am and why I want to be a game dev. I really like FPS games the most, as you can see. I didn't really explain that well, but I like competitive FPS games. It's my favorite genre for sure. I'd say after that would definitely be card games. I'm a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic. The only reason I don't play them as much is because they're not as popular. I did like Master Duel when it first came out. I was a big Master Duel player. That was definitely fun. But yeah, I'm mostly am an FPS player. And that's kind of the reason I also want to make that game, is that I feel like I have the most general knowledge in my life about that. So if I were to make a game, I would definitely want to make an FPS game, because I do respect that other games are hard in their own aspects. Like I mentioned, like a game like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic is just so hard to make, because, like, you know, you get into the power balance issue, but then power balance, it doesn't even happen. Things just get banned. And, you know, I could never imagine actually making a card with the amount of, like, statements they have on the actual card piece. Wow. But yeah, you know, I respect that. And so I want to make an FPS game because I obviously like FPS games. You know, I like Call of Duty as a kid, like any person, right? And then I played a lot of shooters early on. So like Overwatch, when it first came out, I was a beta player, and I really liked Overwatch, but I don't like Overwatch 2 as much. And I think it's just because, in my opinion, Overwatch doesn't just feel like Overwatch anymore, you know? I feel like the same thing as anyone who's ever played the League before. You know, you play the League and you're like, nah. And then you got those people talking about, nah, League was season 4 or League was season 6, you know? And it just, that's how I feel with like a lot of games, right? Like I'm too either old, or the game progressed in a way that I just don't care as much for. So, sorry for ranting about the gaming portion, but I thought it'd be good to know that I'm definitely someone who pays attention to a lot of things in gaming and doesn't get paid, because I'm doing this because I like it, and I truly do, or otherwise I wouldn't do any of the things that I just showed you, or any of the things upcoming that I'm about to show you. So first, I want to show you the wall run test, and that is, it's gonna need a load. So whenever my screen gets taken up by this, because I think this is on a hard drive. Nope. Alright. So this was the actual beginning example that I made actually last year. But the issue with this is that this doesn't actually work correctly. And this is kind of my main point of why I even wanted to learn programming in the first place, because obviously I want to be a game dev. But I made this using Blueprint. And I watched a lot of tutorials and then I mashed things together to actually get this result. So it took a lot of tutorials, but it felt good actually doing this and working towards a goal. But not everything's perfect, because if you see this, if I go to my character here and I jump off the wall, I can jump so many times, but only in one direction, which none of that's supposed to happen. It's only supposed to be, you know, like one jump, or like a double jump, you know, in like normal terminology. It's loud, I'm not gonna shoot that. But what do you call it? Yeah, so this was made using Blueprint, and I had fun doing this, but I feel like I learned actually nothing. And the reason I learned nothing is because I feel like, you know, when you're using an actual engine like this, right, this is cool. in the sense that it does so much for you that you don't actually have to program it, right? It's a game engine. So you can actually just focus on making the game. But you don't actually have any understanding, especially if you're someone like me, who I personally went to school for business and I dropped out. And I ended up getting like a CompTIA certification. And right now, I work for a business, because I'm not going to say, I just realized, but I have the leisure of being on my laptop a lot, which allows me to watch a lot of videos and to actively do things like programming. And like I said, I spent a lot of this year actually just focusing on this topic. So one of the main reasons that I think that this abstracts a lot of ways, because I felt like I learned nothing, but it was fun. Like I said, it made me want to learn more, but I didn't know where to start, right? That's like most people when they don't know where to program. And if I'm ranting a little bit, just remember, this is almost 4 a.m., okay? I've been up. But one of the first resources I actually looked at was Learn CPP. I didn't actually know this existed, but I asked ChatGPT for resources and YouTubers that I can watch, because I want to actually get deep into this and to save all these things. So I made a completely separate channel, which is this channel, right, for all my game dev and programming related needs. So even my algorithm is basically just programming. I don't use this YouTube account for anything but programming, because I have a philosophy where I believe that if I brainwash myself, then I'll learn faster. So just surround yourself with the idea of the thing that you're trying to become constantly, and you'll end up getting towards it, is what I believe. But I started reading Learn CPP, and I thought it was really cool. And I think, once I get to like, chapter 5 is when I wanted to do some cool stuff, because you learn a lot of basic concepts about all the data types here that like you're gonna know, and they're used all the time, and what a string is and how to use a string. And you're like, okay, I want to do something more than like make a calculator, which then I used SFML to make a snake game, because I also asked ChatGPT the same question once again. I was like, okay, what can I use to make a snake game? And this is what it gave me as a result. Because you gotta remember, the one thing that I think that like people who program a lot, and this is only something recently that I started realizing, because just spending so much time, and I mean a lot of time. I think I have slept half the amount of time a healthy human this month should actually be sleeping, and that's not even a joke. That's just actually because of so many so many videos that I've been watching and actually trying to program actively, so that I can actually do things. And it's more of like an obsessive effort, because the more things make sense, the more questions you have, right? But yeah, so I think one of the things that people don't want to talk about who do program is they don't realize how little people who are either trying to learn don't know, right? They don't even know certain things exist, why use certain things, blah blah blah, right? So like something like SFML, which is like an easy library to use, in my opinion, was like, oh, that's nice, because that took me like I think 2 hours to figure out how to make a snake game using this, and then like watching a bunch of videos to get examples of the structure, because once again I have no experience, so I don't even know the structure I'm looking for, right? So I can't build anything with my mind, right? I just only have to understand, why does this go here, what does this do, right? And then after using SFML, I kind of ended up realizing that once I got to the end, no menu either, like as you see, it just kind of ends when you hit yourself or you hit the edge, right? I kind of realized that that was actually a lot shorter than I thought it would be. So I was like, okay, actually, I want to learn OpenGL, because everyone says OpenGL and graphics programming is hard, and you gotta go talk to the GPU. And I was like, okay, well, this is interesting. And so I asked ChatGPT once again, what's a resource that I can use? And there's another website called Learn OpenGL. So I downloaded this PDF so I can just save it, which, just in case. And this is a great resource, because Another resource that I wanted to get into was another type of resource of learning material that I wanted to get into was math, because especially in game development you use so much math. And originally I thought this would be like some wizard like thing, but it's only complicated, I think, when it's really complicated, so far from the basic things that I've done, right? And like obviously there are people, there's between you going to Stack Overflow and you talking to any AI or anything, you're probably gonna end up finding someone who has already came up with a solution, right? And I'm just saying this in a broad sense, right? Like you don't have to make the Pythagorean theorem again, right? And I'm just saying this for people who are afraid of learning math, right? Like you're not making it. You just have to learn what it does, right? That's all you got to do. This isn't basic terminology, but I really like this because it's good in examples. It shows you what it does, and it also teaches you when you get to matrices and stuff how matrices work, which is nice because I had to end up watching, what is it called? Yeah. Oh, Blue Brown. Yeah. So I watched these videos on repeat. Like I watched these videos, I swear, like 10 times each. Because once again, I was one of those people who didn't like math in school. It's not that I didn't like understand it. It's like I was the person who questioned, like, what am I going to use this for? And then it comes back around at me. But anyways, yes, I watched these videos on repeat, and I also paid attention to learn OpenGL thing to actually understand how this works, and I can tell you that it's not as complicated as it sounds. It only looks complicated, but if you just open your mind up, it's so much easier, right? And I think this was also an insanely good resource in my opinion, mathematics for 3D game programming and computer graphics. And this is another PDF you can get online, right? These both you can get online, so these are free. Once again, nothing paid. And this here, this is so important because I don't know why, but this little image here of an explanation of how the CPU and GPU like work with each other just made so much sense to me that it just helps with my understanding. I know it sounds weird, but I'm just saying, well, out of the things that I personally felt, this was a really good explanation. And obviously, there's the Cherno. There's Caleb Curry's series as well. There's the Cherno's Game Engine series, because another thing that I ended up realizing while learning OpenGL is that I want to make a game engine. And this is kind of how I get into like the I want to get as I want to be a game developer, I get deeper and deeper in the lower level stuff, because I realized that between wanting to make a game personally and wanting to work a job that I really like, they line up really well. And if I want to do this thing, there's definitely the resources out there to learn this thing. So that's why, oh man, my words, man, I'm sorry. But anyway, that's why I feel this way when I'm explaining how I feel about, like, I want to do this or I want to do that, right? And I think this also too, John Carmack's talk on Lex Friedman, it's 5 hours long, so I know it's gargantuan, but this was so cool to listen to as someone who's completely new, just C++ and a little bit of C, because I guess they're related, so I just view them the same, right? I guess you could say if C sharp is related to them, they're the same, right? Because they all are like together, right? But John Carmack's talk about programming and how he felt learning programming and just programming in general was just so awesome to listen to, and his thought process and his overall, he just sounds so happy talking about programming, to be honest. And then you got BR Strostrup, the creator of C++. This is a super cool talk to hear about, like, how he just feels about, you know, his language and just programming in general. I think that's just cool to learn, you know. And Tim Sweeney, which I think his talk the most convinced me to do something, like in the terms of like a different direction, because I think his talk about making an engine and having people actually use the tools to create things is very cool because usually we hear people talk about they want to make a game, right? And that's cool because people can enjoy this media, right? You do all this work so someone can enjoy your media, but making something that helps people make more things is really cool in itself, right? And I like Unreal Engine obviously too, and that's cool. And you have low level game dev. This is another really great resource, and I think he's really great in the sense of that he's he does a lot of projects that you can imitate, is what I would say, because he makes his own game engine and he does a lot of teaching. So he he's someone who's spent a lot of time actually coding in C++, and he has a lot of talks about using these libraries and how to make a game and how to use these APIs. And he basically does a lot of the work for you if you feel like you can't do it. I know he has a library where he just combines all of them together, and then you can just use that, right? So he's a really good resource because he definitely got my brain going with a lot of this linking stuff early on, because that was just linking stuff in itself, it might be more annoying than actually programming in the beginning. But I'm gonna get this going. Casey Muratori, and I get this from the Prime Yagan. I gotta look this up because there's no way. Prime Yagan. The Primogen. Yeah, Primogen. What? Okay, the Primogen. Yeah, I saw him on there where he's trying to make a game with Casey Muratori, right? And he just has wisdom. Like, this guy has so much knowledge and so many things where he talks about, like, you should learn this and this, and I went to go look at those concepts and things made way more sense. I don't understand everything. You gotta remember, I'm in my first month of actually focusing on this, but I've also just done that. And there's also GDC conference talks where they talk about certain things like, why do you make a game engine? I thought this was cool, right? Make a case for making your own game engine. And obviously Blue Brown. Another person I'd like to say, City Tutoring Math, because I think he just changed my perspective. He just came on my page. Now, I think he's a bit, what do you call it, on his beliefs. So if you're not the type of person who doesn't like that, but I mean, I got a Jesus piece here. So, I mean, if you're already this far, you're watching. So, anyways, he's definitely a guy who focuses on like real mathematics and like actually liking math, right? So I think he's a good resource for actually getting you motivated to actually want to do math and like actually care about it. But he's more a mathematician. So if you are a programmer, I guess you're kind of more of an applied mathematician. So this is always not going to directly correlate, but the concepts and the theory will. So yeah. And then there's Tokyo Spliff. I think he's another cool resource because he's someone I've been actually watching for like over a year. Oh, I'm not even subscribed on this account. Oh yeah. But yeah, and he is doing a solo game dev thing where he's making his own game engine. And okay, I'm sorry, I had to yawn. Okay, so he's making his own game engine and he's doing this all by himself. So everything is in OpenGL and Vulkan, and he also has these medleys that you can watch that kind of showcase all the work he's done. But yeah, I watch him from time to time because it is definitely cool to see one person do everything. I don't know, as a kid I watched a lot of anime, so like the whole one person doing all the work is pretty cool to me in concept in every field. It will always be. But yeah. And I'm going to put all of these in the description so that you can have access to all of these. But I just wanted to kind of go over that. It's probably going to be like the longest talking of things that like aren't as cool. But this is just more of an introduction, right? Because I want to post more. So I'm probably going to do like a monthly post unless I actually have something cool to make a video about. But anyways, thank you for watching. And if you liked this or anything, just comment below and talk about something either I did bad or something I should think about, or if you think that this helped you in any way. So thank you.